So welcome to our first in hopefully a series of classes on e-commerce for retail and small businesses. This has been a really highly requested topic lately, as you guys can imagine. So we're really excited to be able to provide some context and some direction in this really important topic. So we have today Erin from Cream City Marketing, which is a small business located in Lake Mills, which is one of our Main Street communities. So she's put together some quick and dirty content on strategies for selling on Facebook, depending on where you're at with your Facebook profile. So I am going to go ahead and turn the presentation part over to Erin. And if you guys have questions, feel free to type them in the chat box. We've muted everybody for now, but you're welcome to type questions as you have them. So Erin, it's loading.
There we go.
I think you should be good.
Sweet. Thanks, Erin. Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this. I don't know if it's rainy by you, but it's very rainy here. I'm grateful to be inside. This morning we're going to talk about strategies for selling on Facebook. I'm probably going to move a little fast, so don't be afraid to stop me or ask any questions. So today we're going to cover a variety of topics. Number one, I'm going to talk a little bit about who I am, and then I want to get a feel for who you are who's joined us today. We're going to talk about selling products and services with posts. We're going to talk about selling with video or live feed. We're going to talk about some curbside pickup events, and lastly, we'll dive a little bit into Facebook as a point of sale. So first of all, my name is Erin Yelvasacker. I work at Cream City Marketing, where I'm a partner and our Director of Creative Strategy. A little info about us. My mom actually started this business 20 years ago, and I've been with it for 19 years. We're a woman-owned business, a family-owned business, and we have offices in both Lake Mills and Milwaukee, which allows us to understand a lot about small towns and small businesses in larger markets, like in larger cities. We're a full-service marketing agency. What that means is we do just about everything. We do marketing strategy, digital marketing, websites, branding, print design, email marketing, and business consulting often. We don't so much have a niche, though we do a lot of work in senior care and manufacturing. We look more for businesses that want to work as a partner because we prefer to work with people instead of for people. One of the reasons why I have a little bit of insight, a little bit more than some people might, is that we also run a retail shop in Lake Mills called Wallflower Market. It's a local gift shop, and we also have a print shop where we do large format like banners and posters, and we have a digital press, so we do stationery and things like notebooks and notepads and bookmarks, just about anything. We've been in business for 4 years. We mostly started it just to do something fun, and it's taken off, which has been awesome. We do a mix of B2B and B2C, so we understand both of those markets. I don't, in a minute I'll find out what industries you guys are in, but it's a mix, and it allows us some insight into how to reach both of those markets. We do a lot of custom gifts, custom photo canvases. We do work on interesting projects like invitations and party supplies, all kinds of things. And we also focus a bit on local art and promoting local businesses. So right now we're all here really because presentation is not shown. Is anyone else having issues seeing the presentation right now?
I couldn't, this is Polly Knopf in Wessa. I couldn't get Skype to work, so I've dialed in.
Okay. I'm just gonna, so right now, we're all pretty much here. Okay, awesome. You guys can see it? That's super helpful. Thank you. We're here because of COVID-19 and how times are so uncertain. So many of us are closed. We're technically open because we're a print shop and we serve healthcare and we serve manufacturers, but our brick and mortar shop is closed. No one's coming in. We actually had just moved locations, so we're not even set up. So we're really leaning heavy on social media and an online presence in order to keep our business alive. And we are luckily positioned because of the marketing agency to have that digital presence. But I believe Erin was telling me the statistic is something like 60% of small businesses don't have a digital presence. And that's really overwhelming right now. It's kind of daunting to a lot of businesses. So we're going to try to address some simple ways you can change that around. There's a lot of unknowns right now. But we do know a few things. We know that social media usage is way up and that the way consumers are using it is changing rapidly, changing almost daily. You're seeing a lot of different audiences engaging with it that have never engaged with it before. So the one constant I've seen and that I believe will continue is the value of personal connection and building that feeling of a relationship between you and the people online right now. And that's what we're going to focus on, how to build that and how to create sales from that. So why don't you guys take a minute and chat and tell me a little bit about who's on the call, maybe your location and the type of business or what role you play at Main Street? You guys throw that up into chat.
I can call them out if they don't contribute. I know who most of
Yeah, I don't know everybody yet.
Poppy Popcorn just launched their online platform the other day. I saw it. I might make an order.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah, if
John.
you just want to call it out, that's cool too.
This is John Stoltz. I run Tabrizi Persian Rug Gallery in De Pere, Wisconsin.
Okay, cool.
And we've been closed since this whole thing came about. So I've been trying a little bit to do a little bit of online presence, but I need some more help on that. So
yeah, I think we all need a little help. I'm lucky enough to have a team I can lean on, but it's hard to keep up on my own.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
So that's about what I'm doing. So yeah, we sell Oriental rugs from all over India, Iran, Turkey, Pakistan, that sort of thing. So
That's awesome. That's cool. That's really interesting. My in-laws actually are in that market too. So it looks like we have resale, a lot of retail, marketing. Excellent. And all over the place. That's awesome. Okay, cool. That's super helpful, you guys. My biggest question is, because this gives me a big feel of how fast I can move, do you already have a personal Facebook page? If you guys can just, yep.
yes, I do. I have both. I have personal and business.
Awesome. Okay, it looks like most people are saying yes. And do you all have active business pages also? Oh.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like most people are saying yes. The question I have too is, how actively are you using that business page? Are you using it daily or weekly, or is it just something you started as an information page and now you don't know what to do with it?
I personally use mine as much as I can. I post almost every day.
Okay, it looks like that's the common denominator, so that's really helpful. So that means I can move fairly quickly. Awesome, you guys, this is helpful. Okay, so moving on, as we go through this, feel free to throw up some questions. I'll try to keep an eye on it, but I might pause. I'm also set in some pauses so that I can catch up with those. Just throw them up in chat. And when I do pause and ask for questions, feel free to speak up if that's easier for you. As I make this presentation, there's a few things to keep in mind. Our goal is to make purchasing easy. We call it reducing friction in the marketing world. So we want to make sure the steps that the consumer has to take from seeing the product to purchasing the product there's as few steps as possible and it's as seamless as possible. our goal here is to increase your visibility, increase your presence, to build those connections we talked about earlier, and to reach existing customers, but also some new markets, because now when you're online, you're not limited to your local market. You also have access to technically a global market. The first thing we're going to cover is selling products and services with just posts. So Facebook posts are a great starting point for beginners, or really for anyone who's just trying to build their sales, because they're free. There's no integrations or extra software. You don't have to have an e-commerce or a website, and you can use all tools that you already have, so your phone, your computer, your tablet. One thing I like to tell my clients to do in all avenues, but especially on social media, is to be authentic. Stay true to who you are, to who your business is, to your values. This is an opportunity to build your reputation and to build relationships with your customers. So be sure to be yourself so that you get the customers that you're looking for and the customers who will buy in and be loyal to you. Right now, what we're lacking is obviously the brick and mortar experience. So we're trying to recreate that in-person buying experience with posts, which is a challenge. But one thing I do and I find really successful is writing your posts as if you're talking directly to your customers, as if they're in the room. I even go so far as to visualize them and to visualize certain clients that I cater to and write my posts as if they're in the room, so that they are bought in and that they understand what I'm talking about. And I'm going to keep hitting on the connection theme, but genuine connection is huge value right now. People are lonely, people feel isolated, so let's do something to try to bridge that gap. Also, when you're posting, I want you to think about your current customers. So your posts should fit your audience. You want to create posts that your current or likely customers can identify with. And as you choose what products to post about, keep in mind what products or services they purchase or use the most, and start with those to test the waters. In my business, we try to stress that you should balance your post types. Right now, we're focusing on sales, but in order to be effective, we also have to focus on other types of posts, posts that entertain, that interact with your customers, and posts that add value or inform them. So what does that actually mean? That means you can post funny or inspiring quotes, you can post funny or relevant videos, articles or blogs written by you or reposted from other businesses, DIY tips or how-tos, especially if you're in an industry that's has supplies for those, like a hardware store or a craft store. Those are extremely valuable and they keep people busy and interested. You also want to add value by telling them a little bit about your industry, where your products are sourced from, how they're constructed, whether they're handmade or not. That's really helpful, and it creates some buy-in to how you do things. And the last thing I post about a lot is local events or local information about other businesses. I don't know if everyone has seen, I'm assuming everyone's seen Miracle on 34th Street. It's one of my favorite movies. And in that, Kringle, when they can't find toys at Macy's, starts telling the moms and the customers where else they can buy those toys. And a lot of those are their direct competition. And that's been my philosophy since the day we opened, is to be Macy's. Share those businesses posts, share their information, share with the local organizations, because I found that anything that I send out like that comes back to me tenfold. Especially right now, we should not be seeing each other as competition. We should be seeing each other as a team and potential connections that can help one another. So here's just a few examples recently of non-selling posts we did. One is from the Lake Mills Chamber of Commerce, for example. It advertises all the businesses in town that are doing Mother's Day promos or that can sell gift cards, restaurants, other stores. So that's an example of being Macy's. I do that all the time and try to keep up as best I can. We also post silly memes like "Love is temporary, but pie is infinite" on Pie Day. Vintage artwork is a big part of our genre at the store. And the last one is Monica, one of my staff, wrote a full blog on activities for Easter to create some value and to create some interaction with our audience. Does anyone have any questions thus far? No? Okay. Next, I'm going to just talk about the components of a post. I assume, do I work with bloggers for tips? I do work with some bloggers. I actually have 5 content writers on staff, so we do a lot of our own blogs, but we also work with partners in order to build our content and to add some value to our different businesses. So that's something you can do, is reach out to people you follow on social media and try to interact with them and tag some of their articles or blogs, especially if it has something to do with your industry. One thing I try to explain, and I'm going to go through right now, is just the basic components of a post. We all do a really good job, for the most part, of posting photos or interacting or just trying to entertain our people, but sometimes we don't tick all the boxes on the type of post we should do. So the number one thing that you start with is your caption or the text, and this is where that authenticity and that connection comes in. So use your voice, talk about things that are familiar. That's your chance to connect. The next part, and one of the most important things you can do right now, is contact info or a link. So if you have an e-commerce store, this is where you would put a direct link to that product or store. If you are only taking on orders via email or phone, this is where you would put that. As I mentioned before, we want to reduce friction. We want to make purchasing easy. So the more information you can give them, the better. And this is the place to do it. The other thing we always do is a call to action of some sort. Consumers these days actually kind of like to be told what to do next. They go to a site, they go to a page, and they go, okay, well, now what do you want me to do? Do you want me to buy this? Do you want me to enjoy it? So we use action words like call us, sign up, subscribe, click here, reserve your spot, buy, or tell us more. And that usually, we find that creates a lot more interaction than if you just make a statement. And the last element, and actually most important, is the image, which can be a photo, it can be a graphic. This is an example of one of the journals we do. The number one thing to keep in mind is that if you only do text, you're not going to get the kind of attention you would if you do a photo or a graphic. If you're doing services, I know it's hard to post photos sometimes that apply, so a graphic or even turning your text into a graphic in something like Canva is very helpful and can get your post a lot more attention and traction. Also, Facebook's algorithm boosts posts with photos and video, and it puts them in people's feeds more often, so that's where an image becomes very important. One little trick on these images that I like to point out is that you can tag these products. When you click into the individual image, there's a tag products button, and that allows you to click on individual pieces and name them or include a link directly to them. These are some of my Hamilton journals, so I would name that one, Throwing Away My Shot Hamilton journal. And then if people are calling or emailing you and you don't have e-commerce, they know exactly what to ask for, and you reduce that friction, you reduce the confusion. Oops, let's not go there yet. Does anyone have any questions about those kinds of posts or any thoughts? Awesome. Okay, then I'm going to move on to the next piece. One type of post that people don't think about, or they often just try to put something pretty in, is your cover photo. That is the most highly visible thing. That's the first thing people see when they go on your page, and it has a huge amount of real estate percentage-wise. Just look at that. So this is a huge opportunity to share products or services, to promote deals or offers, or to promote events and sales. So don't squander this if you can. Oops. Oh, now I lost my presentation. Okay. Hey, Erin, my presentation just
I'm working on it. I think I may have to
reboot.
Yep.
It's funny how these meetings, like, I've been embarrassed because I've dropped calls and all kinds of things, and in the end, we're all experiencing the same issues. So, is what it is.
Here, I'm gonna take over as presenter temporarily and see if I can.
Sweet, go for it. I think my
So-
internet connection's okay. I don't know about you guys, but all my kids are on internet right now. How often do I change it? I change it based on what I have coming up. So if I have events, then I change it a lot. If it's seasonal, I try to change with the seasons. Right now, we have something pretty basic up because we're in the middle of changing everything for the shop. So it's an interesting time, but usually I change it based on what's going on.
And I see Sarah's on, and she just launched her shop this week. So Sarah, how's it going so far? Do you have any orders? I'm assuming excellent might mean it's going excellent, hopefully.
I hope so. It's an interesting time.
I don't know what this hide stage is.
Oh, that's awesome, Sarah. That's the best feeling when you start getting orders from people that you have no idea how they found you, but it's awesome.
I don't know how to find the file. Oh, here we go. All right.
Got it. I see the want buyers right now. The main reason I started with posts is that's one way to build sales right away, because you can list an item and someone can call you or email you immediately, and you can arrange for them to pick up, you can arrange for delivery if it's local, and you can arrange for shipping too. So that can change in a day or two. It's quick and easy versus setting up a store that feels a little intimidating, I know.
All right, I think I'm going to try alternate method here. Whoops.
I think I gave a few versions.
Yep, that's why I'm going to.
Otherwise, I might be able to share screen too, if that works better.
I'm just going to share the other file on my actual desktop that's open.
Okay. Yes, we're going to touch on video posts in a little bit. I'm just starting with simple concepts first.
All right, can you see? I don't know what you.
Not yet. We do, Jackie asked about Instagram. We do use Instagram a lot. We're just building that presence a little bit more. We have several subsidiary businesses, like one of our beekeeping businesses. We use Instagram all the time, and we get a ton of interaction there.
What?
LinkedIn, there's a question about LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn a ton. It's been a huge sales tool for me and a huge way of connecting with people. It's actually basically Facebook for business owners. So I've actually made a lot of great friends on LinkedIn and had a blast meeting new people. So I highly recommend just dipping your toes into LinkedIn. But today we're going to cover Facebook. But if you're interested in LinkedIn, it's fun. I have some other training for that I can offer at some point. I'm training internally and clients on LinkedIn. There's a question about what tools I use to design posts. A lot of my people use Canva. I use WordSwag sometimes. I'm a graphic designer though, so I use a lot of different tools, but Canva and WordSwag are really easy.
It does not.
There's a comment that, what?
Go ahead. No, it does
there's
not want to do anything else than.
Maybe I can share screens in just a sec. But if Sarah posted that she feels like her Instagram is more loyal than Facebook, and I would agree. I find that much lower numbers of followers have much higher engagement. Facebook rewards people for different things, and they change the algorithm all the time. So we're hitting Facebook because it's honestly the lowest common denominator. It's the easiest. But all these things we're talking about on Facebook, you can use on Instagram and even on LinkedIn to some degree. All right, why don't I try sharing my screen once? Is that okay, Erin?
Yep.
See if I can pull it up. Share screen. Which screen? I have too many windows open, I think. Primary monitor. Interesting.
It's thinking.
It's thinking about it.
There we go.
Was it up?
I can see it.
I cannot. So let's see what I got. I don't want this one. Let's close that up. Or that. Let's see. Oh, this. Okay. Can you guys see this right here?
Yep.
Okay. Now I won't be able to see chat, so Erin, would you mind reading off anything that comes up?
I will definitely do that.
Sweet. Thank you. I was just going to show you a few examples of cover photos that we've done. So we have events sometimes. This is a little Macy's-ish. I do the Small Business Saturday, and I didn't make it logo specific just because our whole community participates. And then, for example, at BPODs, we had a recipes and remedies book that was a bestseller on Amazon, so we promote that. And when you click on the window, it's supposed to go directly to our online store. So
it's asking if you can do presentation mode so it makes it bigger.
Oh, yes, this is true. I don't know how to back on it. Okay, there we go. Good call. It's kind of early. So next we're going to do Facebook videos and live. There's two options when you're hitting video. You can record it ahead of time, which allows you to plan or edit. You can do compilations of products, which a lot of people like, and it's a little less intimidating than being live. But live is a huge opportunity. It has much higher engagement, and it creates little notifications for all your followers that you've gone live when they're on, and a lot of people just click on that to see what's going on. So if you can, it's worth a try. If you get no one watching it, it really doesn't matter. So it's just practice. So the more you can get in front of the camera, the better. Even though it feels a little painful at first, it's a huge opportunity, and you'll get used to it. I promise. I'm getting used to Zoom calls. I used to hate them, but now I kind of like them. So video allows you to sell in a way that feels more familiar, more like when people are coming into your shop and you're interacting with them. So that's part of why it builds a lot more connection. You can display your products, you can walk around your store, you can explain your services. It gives you a little more time and interaction. There's different time slots that are recommended, a lot of 10-second videos, a lot of 30-second or longer form. All of them are effective in different ways. A video allows you to boost your interaction with your customers. Again, it builds that personal connection. It allows you an opportunity to answer questions. If it's live, you can answer them in real time, just like we're doing with chat, or it allows you with comments to address them directly or direct message them through Facebook Messenger if they have questions. And it also allows people, if you're doing video, to make purchases in those comments. Like, I want to order this, and then they'll message you, or they'll ask you to message them. So it's a interesting opportunity to display lots of products and to build that interaction. It also, as far as the Facebook algorithm goes, they like video. They boost anything that has video gets preference because it makes their users happy. Right now, Facebook kind of switched over to the model where they're focusing on users instead of businesses. So whatever users will interact with, Facebook is favoring and boosting in their feeds. So that's one of the main reasons you really want to push video if you can manage it. Some local examples or examples from friends that are doing Facebook videos or live events. Countryside in Lake Mills is doing a half-hour live event, a live sale, where they'll talk about and display certain products and people can order while they're doing it. That's tomorrow, actually. One niche market I hit is steampunk, so Junk in Thy Trunk is having a live sale in a few weeks. And then a friend of mine teaches yoga, so she's doing a meditation live with people, and that allows her to reach a different audience. So there's a lot of things you can play with video, and just it's a lot of trial and error because every market interacts with it a little differently. So I just highly recommend taking a chance and trying it out. Does anyone have any questions about videos or going live?
There's a question about how to do a live sale.
Well, that, I think we might actually want to do a separate workshop on that because it's kind of hard to go into all of it, but for the most part, it's kind of, think of QVC a little bit as one way to do it. So you're talking about different items, you're going through different lines, you can go through your store and show different displays. There's a lot of ways to do it, but that's, I believe Countryside, from what they said from their event, that's kind of what they're going to be doing, is almost like the QVC feel of talking about products and having a dialogue about it.
Someone is asking, is horizontal or vertical format better?
That depends on how you use it. We do a lot of square videos just because we do both Instagram and we do Facebook. So you can see the Junk in Thy Trunk. That was an Instagram video that she also shared. Clearly that was actually in stories. Facebook does, the algorithm changes. It likes horizontal sometimes, but if you're going to do live, you need it vertical to some degree because it's going to come up as stories, and stories are a vertical format. So there's no tried and true method right now. It's more about whether or not how you're interacting. Are you posting in stories? Are you pre-recording it? If you're pre-recording it, you're going to want to go horizontal or square. Were there any other questions?
I think that's it.
Sweet, we'll move on. The next thing that I'm going to hit on a little is curbside pickup events. You can do this as an individual store or as a community event. Lake Mills, for example, is setting up a few times in the next couple of weeks, I think on Saturdays, maybe Sundays, I can't remember offhand, where there's going to be a set window and all the retailers are participating. And what a lot of them or us are doing is doing those product posts we talked about earlier, doing some video and setting it up so people can pre-order and then pick it up that day. When you think about curbside events, there's different ways to approach it. So it could be this one-time thing, an event, or you could set up a regular pickup time. I've got a salon client that every Wednesday has product pickup after work, or you could do Saturday day. Creating consistency is helpful for your customers because when they know what to expect, they'll show up. The number one thing I keep hearing about is inconsistency. That's the number one complaint. So when people are inconsistent, you're going to lose your audience. They're not going to show up. They're not going to go looking for you because they don't know what you're doing. Right now, unfortunately, the assumption is that you're closed and not doing business. So creating some sort of consistency is huge. The idea with curbside pickup events is to make that purchase and pickup as easy as possible. Again, reducing your friction. You can take phone or email orders. I personally would stress trying to have people prepay for items to minimize that contact. Best practices for curbside pickup and for minimizing contact don't include exchanging cash if you can manage it, because it's very challenging. I would encourage you, there's a million sites right now, not a million, but hundreds of sites that are listing best practices for this and for takeout food, and I would look those up if this is something you want to do to make sure you're following safety guidelines. The big advantage of this is you can meet your customers curbside while they remain in their vehicle. You can, again, minimize contact. The most important thing I've discovered and seen is that signage and directions when they arrive is super important. For example, the other day I ordered from Noodles and they sent me a text that told me what number to call and where to park. And then they just brought it out and put it in my car. There was almost no contact except for online. Recently for Fort 88 and Fort Atkinson, we did these signs to help them with that because they did one day of curbside pickup and it was crazy and no one knew where to go. So they created these signs and they said it's been streamlined and worked like clockwork since then. Does anyone have any questions about the curbside pickup idea?
Nothing in chat yet. Think you're clear.
Sweet. And this is some, one place where some of the Main Street leadership on a local level could maybe help you organize these events. I know Elisa in Lake Mills is doing that. It's been nice to have someone take the lead because sometimes we're so busy trying to scramble to keep up that it's very helpful to have someone come to us. So next we're going to touch on Facebook as a point of sale. I can't go into too much detail because we could teach that for 2 hours, to be honest. So I'm going to try to go over the basics of it. So when you go on your business page, you have the option to add a shop, and this is what the back end looks like before you've added anything. There's a lot of advantages to using a Facebook shop versus full e-commerce. There's no limit to the number of products you can list. You can organize your selling into categories or collections. You can stay updated just like you do on your business Facebook page with the latest stats and sales and see engagement. You can improve your selling experience for customers, again, reducing that friction, making purchase easy. This also allows you to gain new customers, not just local ones. And it's low cost. It's a quick setup, relatively speaking, compared to other options. And all of these make it pretty low stress to start a store, at least to try it out. With that Facebook shop, though, which that's not real obvious, is there's actually 2 ways to use it. You can create your Facebook store using Facebook's traditional platform and their checkout, or you can create an online store using an e-commerce website and link it to your Facebook shop, which is honestly what I'd recommend if you can swing it. It just is a little easier, and I'll give you the reasons why in a moment. So on the Facebook traditional platform, there's some advantages. You aren't required to have a website, so you have no upkeep fees, no updates to worry about. It's low cost, setup's pretty easy. But the requirements is where it can be a little more complicated. You are only allowed to sell physical items, so no downloads and services. You need to agree with their merchant terms. You need a link to a valid U.S. bank account, so that means you have to link your account to your store. And you need to have a tax identification number, which most of us, or we all should have if we're selling retail. Using an e-commerce website, however, there are some advantages that I prefer. You can list any type of product, including digital or services. It links directly to your website store items, so instead of having checkout on Facebook, it goes right there. It only incurs the fees from your existing e-commerce, so a lot of us use Square in our brick and mortar stores. You can use that on e-commerce too. You can use Stripe, or pretty much any of the services you use to process credit cards have a portal that you can use online. And the best part, especially if some of us are splitting in between Instagram and Facebook, is that all sales from any social media platform can go through one place. You're only dealing with one dashboard. And with Square, for example, you really are only dealing with one thing, which is why I use that one, because you can integrate your inventory from your brick and mortar store into your online platform and just go. The requirements, though, can be costly. They don't have to be. You'll need an e-commerce website, and that involves buying the domain and building and maintaining that website, and then choosing a credit card processing portal. So we, for example, build, right now we're really stressing building websites, these kinds of sites for small businesses, and reducing our rates a lot so that we can help businesses, but it can be daunting and it can seem like a big expenditure. I would say that it's worth it. There's also some lower cost options if you don't want to go with a marketing agency or a website agency. You can use Shopify and try it out yourself. Squarespace has some options. There's a lot of smaller ones too. Those are the ones I have the most experience with. Yeah, so does anyone have any questions about what we've covered so far with that? I imagine there might be.
Or if those of you that have online platforms want to share what strategies you've used in the chat as well, people can learn from each other.
Right, that's super helpful because I only know my own experience and what we've done for clients.
Erin, how do you feel about PayPal as an online payment option?
Oh. PayPal's been great for a lot of people, and it really has a lot more options than it used to have. It even, from what I understand, lets you tag certain people, and then like, for example, if you're selling gift cards, you can tag it and have it automatically dump into their accounts. Most people are kind of split between Square and PayPal, and I think they both have their advantages. Any other questions?
No questions, people sharing, but no questions.
Do people have much experience with running their own website and integrating it?
So Sarah was talking about hers, which I mentioned just launched, and they're using Square that's integrated for their brick and mortar and their websites. And then Jackie says she has B2B, and his Facebook shop is more of a pop-up for the moment. Chris has a linked Wix website to Instagram and Facebook last week, and 15 minutes the store was on both platforms. It was painless.
Awesome. There's a lot of options. And that's why it's scary when I say I recommend it, but it is a lot easier, and you can build your sales then on multiple platforms instead of just Facebook. Is there anything else?
That's it at the moment.
Okay, cool. A few things for best practices when you list items. With your product listings, you want to upload multiple high-quality images. You want to be detailed in your product description, so don't just say journal. Describe the design, describe what it is, and describe, this is the most important part I find, how it can help your client, how it can help your customer, because they want to connect with that description. It's a big opportunity to do more than just the basics. You want to keep your pricing competitive and affordable, because when you're online, there's a lot more competition, there's a lot more comparing, there's a lot more asks to price match, and a lot more questions about your pricing. And you want to keep your inventory up to date. You don't want to be running out of stock if you can. But I know the supply chains are challenging right now, and it's also good to display what products you can carry. The other best practices are promoting those products on your Facebook timeline, not just listing them, to create that interaction, to create that visibility, to have it pop into people's feeds. And the other thing that's super important is to respond quickly to messages and reviews. You should treat these interactions as if they were in your actual store. This is your opportunity to interact with them as if they're a normal customer. So treat that as your most important priority, because a lot of people might not actually buy directly, but they might message you to ask questions about it before they make that purchase. And a lot of people will post reviews, and if you have a negative review, it's important to address that both publicly and to send them a private message so that people understand that you're responsive and that you care about both the good and the bad. This is just a quick photo of how easy it is to add a product on Facebook. You add your photos, you add your videos, all the basics, and then the checkout URL is where, if you have your own e-commerce site, you can just link it directly. And that's all there is to it for the most part. And that's actually it right now. We wanted to keep it as fast as possible. What questions do you guys have about anything regarding this, or what sales options are out there on Facebook?
And you're welcome to both chat them, or if you want to take yourself off mute at this point and ask them, you're welcome to as well.
Go for it. Conversation's easy too.
Jackie asked if you'd speak about hashtags on Facebook.
Yes, hashtags they don't work as well on Facebook, but they're great because a lot of people search by them. I do. While you want some general ones, you also want to have super specific, because the general ones you'll get lost in. So if you just put, like, we sell journals, so if you put journal or journaling, great. But if you can talk about the design, if you can talk about why, like gratitude or, isolation or meditation, things like that, you'll get a lot better results if you can throw some specifics in there.
Sarah asks if you can talk more specifically about linking a website to a Facebook store.
For the most part, we do it through individual items, or when we do posts, we link people back to the store all the time. We try to have every post interact with with our website, or if it's someone else's link, interact with their website. The thing, you have to think of websites a little differently than we used to. We used to think of them as the primary portal, and it still is for a lot of things, like vacation, items that you'd search for that you're not going to run into on a social media platform. Websites are great for, but they're also kind of your home base. And if you can think of it that way, like you want to send them home, you want to send them to your main presence, to your main store, it will help how you gear your posts. And when you do put a link into your post, be sure to be as specific as you can. Don't just send them to your homepage. If possible, send them to individual items or individual blogs, or if you're talking about your store in general, link it to your About Us. One post, you see sometimes is like, are you concerned about returns? We make that as easy as possible, and then link it to your return policy. Try to create that interaction and that back and forth, and people will use it more often, and they'll remember to go straight to your website, not just interact with you on social media.
One of our directors is asking how she can communicate with business owners that feel like online shopping is unsafe, or that their customers won't be interested in visiting online shops. I
think that they'd be surprised at how many people are interested in online shops right now, especially because they don't have any other option for shopping. There will always be that barrier where some people feel like it's unsafe to shop, but credit card processing is getting safer every day. I've been calling a lot of people directly to try to talk to them, because it really is painful to see businesses flounder because right now they don't have a presence. So reaching out and talking about, honestly, this is an opportunity for a lot of people to build where they haven't been able to build before. So I've been trying to stress that as much as possible. This is some forced downtime that we can use to build our businesses. Does that cover the...
Yeah, I was gonna say I would think that you could combine, make them feel slightly more comfortable too by combining online with curbside pickup, so they could still come and pick it up from you, but they still might have to purchase it online.
Correct.
Someone else is asking where the returns policy on the Facebook shop, or where or what. I'm not sure what she was asking.
I'm not sure exactly. That's a more detailed question. We could dive in at some point. Maybe that's what we do next is we dive into how to build that store. We have it on our, do we have it on our website? We should. It's on our square. The other thing with the barrier to purchase, if they don't want to purchase online, if people are calling you to purchase, because I know a lot of people here are doing that, you can run their credit card that way. You could accept cash or check, but you have to look up some best practices and make sure you're doing it in a safe way and that you're comfortable with it.
I think we've dried up our question stream here.
Sweet. Okay. Finally, this is my contact information. If you have any other questions that you'd like to contact me about directly, my email is erin@creamcitymarketing.com, and that is my cell phone, so please be. You can text or call me anytime. I also listed our website for Wallflower. They're both our businesses. Both my mom and I run them. We also run a few other businesses. So I recommend checking us out or connecting on social media. I'm on LinkedIn a lot, so if you want to connect with me there, feel free. Just shoot me a message with it. Yeah. Does anybody have any last minute comments?
I have a lot of thank yous coming in, so I think you've answered everybody's question. So thank you, Erin, for taking the time to share your knowledge, and thank you to everybody who joins. Hopefully you're able to implement some of this, and if you have questions, let me know, let Erin know. We'll hopefully do some more of these so that we can help our small businesses. Also, if you are a retailer that has online sales, we're going to be launching we're going to start with Main Streets, but we're going to be launching an online marketplace for Main Street so people can shop statewide for different types of products if they are interested in shopping locally and then versus Amazon and just don't know where they can buy that rug that they want because they don't have a local shop that has a rug. Hopefully they'll be able to do that. So that's coming down the pike in the next, hopefully, week. So stay tuned. But
That's huge.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.